downright like to the point. So let me share. Aren't you sharing? All right. All right, so we are Spark Mindset. Our goal is to end violence and poverty in low socioeconomic communities. And we do this by creating a diverse and inclusive workforce, diverse and inclusive environment. And we do that in corporations, high school education, and local communities. So what we are about to demonstrate to you today is our virtual reality educational gaming platform that teaches cybersecurity, coding, and entrepreneurship to high school students in poor communities. So, and the reason we chose to do that is we feel they're in high school, especially the ninth grade, it's like a turning point. So there's 1.25 million kids that drop out of high school. And it points back to ninth grade is that turning point. Because if you start off bad, you normally don't finish well, and you go ahead and you actually drop out. And we want to empower high school students to get jobs that will be here in the next 2 to 3 years. Next 5 years. Being able to do those jobs coming out of high school and making a livable wage, like right out of high school. We think that's a way to break the cycle of poverty in our country. And help these communities actually turn around and be more productive in our society today. So we use two models. One of them, the first model is an adaptive learning model. We chose this model because it's faster and students retain the information a lot more as they're going through the program. So as they're progressing, they grasp the information that much more. And because they actually get to do the work, it improves their understanding. So students retain information better when they're actually performing the work. So in this environment, they'll be able to actually be performing the work. This will also engage students. So students will want to be engaged and want to be involved in this because they're engaged. They're actually doing something, and the teacher is not just sitting there and then telling them what to do. But for the teacher can actually track their learning progress, right? So now the teacher can track the progress. The teacher also now can focus on the individual students, and we'll get into that more later, but they can focus on the individual students instead of having to worry about the whole entire classroom as a whole. And so also by being engaged and by being engaged, students won't fall behind, right? And they will make a more effort to stay engaged with their fellow students because they're doing something that's interactive and fun. So they tend not to fall behind because they want to keep up with everyone in the class. The other model is the computative thinking model. And what this is you take big problems, say like we take cybersecurity, and we break it down into pieces, right? And so by breaking it down into pieces, it's easier for them to understand and it's easier to replicate. So why is that important? Because I can create different models for them to actually learn, different steps for them to learn, and I can be future thinking. So I can be proactive instead of reactive. So we can think of different models, things, different ways of doing things as they're happening instead of doing the same thing over and over again. Yet in that still being futuristic, we're still establishing a pattern for them to follow. So, while they're in this game, they're still going to follow a pattern. So we can still track that, and so they can still understand, and they're still doing creative thinking while following this pattern. So when you combine the two, you're not just saying we're going to do things kind of haphazardly. You're saying we're going to create this environment. They're going to be able to think. They're going to be able to be challenged. They're going to be able to critical think, but they still have to follow some specific steps in doing that as well. So we're going to do this in a mixed virtual reality environment. So why VR? Well, study shows that kids learn fast skills faster when they're in a game. So when they're in a game, and they learn things faster because there's fun and it's interactive. Students also are more engaged in the game. So by being involved in the game, they're more involved, and their cognitive thinking skills are actually being used because they're actually performing the work. So it's not, so now they're the ones that's building a business. They're the ones that's learning how to be a coder. They're the ones learning cybersecurity in this environment as they're going through this game. So we chose VR because it was interactive, and it allows the students to actually be able to play in the game, but also allows us to change the models as technology advances. So our tracks are cybersecurity, coding, and entrepreneurship. We chose cybersecurity because 3.5 million unfulfilled jobs are coming by 2021. And this is by the Bureau of Labor Statistics, and the Bureau also says that there are 17% increase in software development jobs in the next in 2020. So that's why we chose cybersecurity and coding. We also chose entrepreneurship because by 2020, 40% of workers will either be contractors or they'll be solopreneurs. So if they're going to be on their own as independent contractors or business owners, they need to know what it takes to be an entrepreneur. So we were specifically targeting things that we know that the students are going to need in the next 5 years. And we didn't want to pigeonhole them into just STEM classes. If some of them wants to go out and start and become a social enterprise or start their own businesses, they will have those skills as well. So I'm just going to take you through this, what a cybersecurity track looks like. So, they're going there, they'll pick one of the topics, and here's like an example of 3 topics: data analysis, computer sciences, network and engineering, and they'll pick it based on where they're at in the program. So, if they're starting off, they'll start off with the start, and they'll follow this path. Our goal is to have these kids come in with no skills and leave with skills to be able to do, be able to take the Security Plus training as they get out, be able to go into companies as sophomore and juniors as interns, and have these cybersecurity skills. Being in cybersecurity also will help them stay out of trouble because you have to have certain levels of clearance. So it also encouraged the kids to make better choices by going down this path. And again, these jobs will be there for them, and there's no reason why they have to go to college. So we're not discouraging students to go to college, but we're saying if you want to go to college while you either with the STEM skills that you didn't have, or go to college while you're working a job where you can pay for it. So we're gamifying this. And the reason that we're gamifying this is, again, it provides students with a sense of achievement. So this is not what the actual game looks like. We just wanted to show you how we're going to gamify it. So we want the kids to have a sense of achievement. Our goal is to have multiple kids in there, but they still have to play their own path, right? They still have to go down their own path, build up their own levels, do their part, but they're not doing this alone. So by gamifying it is making it fun. There's challenges that they have to go up. They have to go up levels. They have to get badges, and we'll talk about more of what that gamification looks like. But keep in mind, as they go up different levels, they are also retaining skills. They're retaining the skills in those that's specific to those levels, and it also increases them to continue to move on because they're being challenged. And the more they're being challenged, the more they have to think about how to figure out different things, because in a game they have to figure it out. There's clues, but they ultimately have to be the ones to figure this out. So as they go up levels, we talked about leveling up. So at each level, there's a certain amount of information that they have to retain. So like, let's look at the data analysis. So when they go up a level, they will have to be able to do all the steps in the data analysis. There will be an assessment for them initially for them to take to say, hey, you have the skills to be able to go to the next level. Eventually, we want it to be like once they climb a certain level, that we know that they have these skills based on they've done a project, or they've done something in the virtual reality that proves that they have these skills. But initially, to collect the data, we'll be doing assessments after each level. But also, we want them also to increase in common core skills in math and science. So each time they go up the level, they get a higher level. They learn something in math, and they learn something in science. This helps the teacher and the schools, right? So now the teacher doesn't have to sit and teach specific classes. They're getting this information based on, and this level of comprehension based on the game that they're playing. And so students will actually be able to earn badges. Now, what's unique about the badges is students can only earn badges by helping another student. So we all know that students are going to have trouble in this environment. Whether you have trouble at the beginning or whether you have trouble in the middle, everyone's going to have a trouble. So it's your job as someone who may be further along or someone who gets this to help someone else, right? So students will be able to ask questions. Other students will be able to answer them through videos, or just writing out something, answering that question in the virtual community. So this builds team working skills, this builds collaborations, and it builds a level of problem solving that's unique because now they're teaching, right? So now they have to think about how to solve a problem where other people can understand and not just how to solve a problem for themselves. So we felt that, and they have to get 3 to 5 badges in order to finish the program. So they can't even finish the program until they earn badges. And so eventually we'll hope to create a community that they're going to continue to want to help each other just because they get recognized for it. So there'll be a dashboard. So the dashboard, the students will actually be able to see the dashboard to see what levels and the things that they've done, the skills that they've earned and learned, and their performance. But what teachers and facilitators will be able to see is they'll be see everyone that's in the program for their school. So they'll be able to see everyone in the class, where they're at, how they're learning, what parts that they're having trouble in, and all this will be tracked for them based on the questions they're asking, based on the levels they're going up. So they can see, hey, they're having trouble here, like in the math, right? Or in the science, or in the technical skills. So we want to be able to track their progress all the way through the game. So that way you can't hide, because sometimes students, like, they don't want to share that they're having problems. So we'll be able to go in there and actually know that they're having problems probably just as soon as they're having problems, because this will be a live data feed. So one of the other things is the virtual community. So students will be able to talk to everyone that's in the program. So if you are in Maryland and I'm in Colorado and I'm in this program, I can talk to you. And the place will be a very welcoming, safe place for the students. We will provide monitors. We'll be able to track what's said in the environment. But the great thing about it is teachers will have also be able to input in there, and the kids will be able to actually have a community. One of the most important things we see in underserved communities, poor communities, is that You know, if I'm trying to break away from my friends, I don't have another group of friends that are going in the right direction to talk to. So we want to provide an environment where, hey, this student can be pushed by his friends, his new friends who will encourage him, who will keep him going when things are hard. And now he doesn't feel like he's alone. And he has those people, that good environment to help pushing them along, which is also important because you just need a good group of friends that helps you progress. I mean, that's everyone, especially it's really hard when you're a young person and you don't have that support system. So we want to provide that for you. In addition, we want to provide them with workforce development skills. We want to provide them with financial literacy training, right? We want them to know how to manage their money. We want them to know how to write a resume. We want them to know how to deal with conflict resolution. We want them to have coaching. We want to put them in situations that they will have in a work environment. We want to put them in a situation that they may have in an entrepreneur space, right? So we want to provide that development. So our course will have them immersed 30%. So we're half of the time they'll be immersed in a virtual reality, and the other half they'll be immersed in workforce development and interacting with the teachers that we're going to go forward with that. So teachers will now become facilitators and not directly learn. So teachers won't be teaching all 30 kids, trying to reach all 30 kids at the same level. By providing them in a virtual reality platform, these kids will be going at their own pace. So teachers can focus on the students that need their help specifically, right? So that one of the ways we're going to do that is when they come out of the VR, there's a discussion of what I learned while I was in the VR. Teachers can ask them questions to make them think. So now this is a discussion, and teacher can give feedback, and students can feel like they're valued and being heard. And it requires both parties, the teacher and the students, to continue to learn. So by creating that environment, students will have a better relationship with their teachers because teachers will actually really get to know their students in the high school level, be able to help them, but also challenge them. So with that, do you have any questions?
So while they're playing the game, they're playing with other people too, kind of like Minecraft?
Yes. So
So
initially,
while they're building something, somebody else on the screen could be building something too.
correct. That's where we want to. That's where we want to get to, right? Initially, I'm at in the first prototype. They will probably be separate, doing their own thing, except for when they're in the community environment. But that's where we're going to, where they will be playing, and someone else will be doing the same thing.
My other question was, um, where is this going to be, in schools, or is like parents going to be paying for it, or?
No, so what? That's a really good question. So it'll be in schools. We want this to be an elective. So for some of the feedback that I've gotten so far, they would prefer this to be an elective instead of a after-school program because of the challenges that parents have after school, the access to like being able to pick up their children and work and those things, especially if it's a single parent, since we're targeting underserved communities. And also the school is paying for this. So for some of the underserved communities, we'll be looking to get sponsors and grants, but we're going to offer this to all schools. And so some schools will be able to pay for it, which will help the other schools who can't pay for it.
How long? You said it'd be elective, so it'd be like a 1-year program?
Yeah, it'll be a 1-year program.
Okay. And so after that 1 year, I will be able, so let's say I take it in my 10th grade year. By the time I get to my 11th grade year, I'll be able to start doing internships for cyber
Yeah.
Cybersecurity?
So the goal is so we will find companies and build partnerships um, with organizations. We're already interviewing them right now, so we can say, what are you looking for to hire these students as interns um, for this program? So this program will only be offered to ninth and 10th graders because we want them to be able to have the time that it would take to be able to be interns. So when they come out, they can actually have jobs. So a lot of times, they're working somewhere, so why not work for a company that's progressing their future instead of just having a job just to have a job.
Okay, so I'm a ninth grader. I go in, I take the course for 1 year. My 10th grade year, what do I do?
So it's our job, right? Your 10th year grade year, right? So our job is we're setting you up to have internships. So in your
So
10th
I can
grade year,
start my internships in 10th grade?
yes, that's the goal. So we're working with the companies to find out what's the age, like
Okay,
limit,
okay.
right? But if it's 10th, we're hoping that we can at least get them in at 10th grade. That you know, it has to also fit with the job standards. So it may be 11th grade, but we're shooting for 10th grade.
So I can learn everything that's needed to learn, like all of the basics in 1 year to become, I mean, to work in the cyber security.
Correct.
So I'll be ready to have an internship in the
Right.
10th grade.
So yeah, remember you're an intern, right? So you're still learning. So you'll have enough skills to be able to do the basic work. But as an intern, one of the parts of an internship is to have people at the company to continue to teach you and mentor you while you're at the company. So you're getting additional skills. We're just providing you with the pathway that you will actually know what you're doing to be able to be in that company.
That makes a lot of sense. That's actually pretty cool. So I take it in ninth grade. I get my internships. I'm just trying to figure out this gap, like as far as if my child starts taking, especially if I'm living in inner city, and she takes it in ninth grade, and then she does 1 year internship. After that, then where's the bridge to graduation or?
So right. So one of the things of the program is to be an intern to stay into like the internship is you have to graduate high school. Right. So that's one goal. But working with a lot of interns, one being an intern myself, also having worked with the interns at Schriever, once you start an internship, you normally get to come back, right? So um, you have to do something because now the company has invested time and
Mm-hmm.
money in you.
Right. Okay.
They
Good.
don't want you to like go work for someone else after they've
Right.
invested. You get in there, you do the things that you're supposed to do. They're not going to leave you. Like they're not going to let you go. Why? One, companies right now needs to hire a diverse workforce, right? So now you have someone from the inner city. Most likely, it's going to be a minority. We're not limited to all minorities, but most likely they're going to be minorities because
Mm-hmm.
that's our primary focus. So I get a diverse person at a young age. I've invested in him. When he graduates, yes, I want to hire him because now he has the skills. If I don't hire him, somebody else will.
Okay. Um, so after graduation, most likely they'll have a job and they don't have to go get any further education.
No. So the further education to be their choice, right? So in cybersecurity, there's some levels that you may need additional education, or you may not, right?
Mm-hmm.
We'll know that at that stage, but that's a choice that they get to make, right? And they get to make that. They may want to go get an education, but they may do it at night. They may do it,
But they'll have a job though.
they
Like,
have a job while they're going to get that
okay, oh
education.
yeah. So what I'm saying is like
Correct. So coming out of high
this is
school,
giving them you going straight to a job.
yeah, correct. Right out of high
Regardless if
school.
they pay $10 or not, doesn't matter. You got a job.
No, actually, you have a job, and it'll be a job
I
that
mean, I
is,
know.
yeah.
I
So
know, I know cyber, but I'm just saying, like, that's awesome. I would definitely, you know, I would definitely put my child in that. I guess the only other question is, you said there was other programs like entrepreneurship. Is the pathway the same?
yeah, so the pathway with the entrepreneurship is we will get you, like say I'm a high school student, I have an idea, we're helping you build like the business. We'll put you in front of people to learn how to pitch. So that it'll be different, a little different.
Okay.
With theirs is we will prepare you to be an entrepreneur. We'll put you in front of mentors, but we both know that there's a little bit more steps to being an
Hmm.
entrepreneur. And so but coming out of high school, they will have the skills. And if they have a business, they would have began working on their business. And so coming out of high school, their business will be formalized.
Hmm.
And investors are hiring, like we've had kids going through startup weekend. We have had high schoolers going through these code schools. So, you never know. And again, or they can go through cybersecurity and they can go through the coding class and say, I want to be my own boss. Like I want to manage who I go work for. Just like they did with social media. There was people who they came out of high school and it's like, I'm going to build my own social media company. And I know a few people who've done that. So
Hmm. I don't have any other questions. I think it's a great idea. Like, my daughter, she'll be going to ninth grade next year. She's into coding and stuff like that, and so, I mean, I would make that girl do it for, do the program at least for a year to actually try it. You know what I'm
right.
saying? And so, I think it's great. I would actually pay for it. I would pay for it. Um, as long as it's not $100,000 or something.
It wouldn't be
But
that crazy.
man, I would. I think that's awesome that they have a community of people around the whole country, um, diverse people, different environments, different backgrounds, perspectives. So I love the fact that somebody from the inner city can see what it's like in inner city of Ohio, can see what it's like in Colorado, or different family dynamics. So I like the program. I think it's amazing.
Yeah. And that's the thing we wanted to build. That's why, we just didn't want to do it from a technical standpoint. I just want to give you technical skills. I want to prepare you for life. And I think, that's what this program will help the student to do. I'm also with the, wherewithal that there's going to be some people go through my program and they will never go into coding and cybersecurity. And I'm going to be okay with that because it's going to be a choice that they made. And it's going to be, hey, I want to do something else. I may want to be an artist. But what I don't want, especially in people in poor communities, is to fear STEM or to think they're not smart enough or not have the opportunity to be able to go into these fields. And so I want to be able to provide that. Um, it's funny, you read studies and they say we um, we know in fourth grade like the statistics of what a person gonna go down in fourth grade, third grade actually, um, and yet we let them go down that pathway, and then we're mad when they self-fulfill the prophecy that you already knew that they was going to do
Mm.
based on the data that you have, and yet you don't intervene and help them. And I have a personal this a story to that stuff that happened with my brother, and I just don't want to see that
Mhm.
happen to another person in the inner city. I think is we should come up with solutions that better helps them, and break statistics like 1 out of 3 African Americans will be locked up, um, especially if they come from a poor community. So,
I think it was amazing.
so yeah, so
Did a
that's
very
it.
good job. Very good job.
Thank you. So yeah, thank you. This is pretty much all I work on right now. So your input and feedback was great.
Didn't feel like I gave you enough feedback, but I'll think about it.
But as a parent, you did, and I need to, and that's why I'm not just focusing on schools, and I'm not just focusing on like businesses, but I also want parents' inputs because they're the ones that have to support and the ones that are going to support the child initially.
Yeah.
So with that, that's the end of our talk. We will keep in touch, but I do thank you.
No problem. Thank you. I enjoyed it.
All right. I'll talk to you later. Hey, let's catch up when I get down.
No doubt.
Okay.
All right. All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye.